Hi, this is Marsha Scarbrough, International Living's Spain correspondent, and the topic for today is traditions and culture in Spain. Spain has a very rich culture and so many traditions that I could talk for hours about this, but I won't. I'll just start with my favorite tradition, which is kisses. So in Spain, whenever you meet a friend in a restaurant or in their home or your home, you greet each other with 2 kisses, one on each cheek, and that's man to woman or woman to woman. And if it's man to man, then it's a hug. And I love this. I love this physical affection and closeness. Now, in the time of coronavirus, we have had to modify, and so now we air kiss from a distance. Sometimes people ask you if it's okay to hug you, or you might daringly touch mask to mask. So we can hardly wait for this to be over so we can get back to our culture of kissing. Another tradition in Spain that some people find challenging, but I love it, is meal times. Spain is not an early to rise place. People get up rather late. They just have coffee and toast in the morning. And then lunch is from 2 to 4, and it's the main meal of the day. It usually has 3 courses and maybe wine. And then dinner is not until 9 or later, and it's a light meal, maybe just wine and tapas. On the weekend, it's probably going to be even later than that. So sometimes that's hard to get used to, not for me because I'm not a morning person. I love it. And then the custom of the siesta is still alive and well in Spain because after that heavy meal at lunch where maybe you had wine, you probably are going to need a nap. Now, people who work in Spain, who are office people, they don't commute home and have lunch and a siesta. But many stores close between 2 and 5:30 or 6. And if it's the weekend and you're planning to stay out really late, you probably would take a siesta in the afternoon so that you'll feel like partying until dawn. A Spanish tradition that I'm sure you've heard about is bullfighting. It's actually very controversial in Spain. It's one of those topics you should be careful about bringing up in conversation because, kind of like religion or politics, you don't know what side people are on. So some people think it's cruel to the animal, and other people think it's an important cultural tradition that needs to be preserved. So far, it has been outlawed in Catalonia, so you won't see it in Barcelona. And it's not all the time everywhere. There's a schedule of, it's different times in different cities. So you have to look online at the schedule and see where it is when. But you won't be seeing it in Barcelona because there it's outlawed. It's not really a fight and it's not really a sport. It's officially classified as a performing art. I think of it as a sort of a ritual of sacrifice, a sort of dance of life and death. That's very, very interesting. If you want to see it, be aware that one corrida is 6 bulls. There are 3 teams of bullfighters, and each one does 2 bulls. The whole thing lasts 2 hours. And your tickets, the price of the tickets depends on whether you buy tickets in the sun or in the shade. And then there's another category of starts in the sun and ends in the shade. So it's not for everyone, but it is really an important and controversial Spanish tradition. Flamenco is an important tradition in Spain. It comes from the south of Spain, from Andalusia, from an area known as the Flamenco Triangle, which is like Cadiz and Jerez to Sevilla and Granada in there. It was originally a sort of oral history of oppressed people who lived in poverty and were laborers and had a difficult life, and they were telling their stories in song. And now it has evolved into a very wonderful and complex art form that includes music, song, dance, and rhythm. There are 2 kinds of dance. One is improvised and the other is choreographed. And the improvised is considered the more authentic because of the spontaneity. And the choreographed is usually for tourist shows. Not all Spaniards like flamenco, but I do. And I love it because it's so passionate and fiery and super sexy. A good place to see it is in Granada, in some of the cave homes where they have shows, and there you're going to see something really authentic. Spaniards love to party, so they will grab any excuse for a fiesta. So there are festivals in Spain throughout the year. So this is going to be a brief rundown. This is by no means comprehensive, but to hit the high points, Christmas is very much a family affair, and it's a quiet dinner at home on Christmas Eve, and then a lunch together with your family on Christmas Day. But then on New Year's Eve, that's a big party time, and the tradition is that as there are 12 bells ringing down to midnight, you eat 12 grapes for good luck in the new year, and it's quite a challenge to get 12 grapes in your mouth in 12 seconds. The children don't get their presents until January 6th, which is the Three Kings Day, and then they get presents in their shoes that are delivered by the three wise men. So Santa is not in the picture here. And then that night there will be big parades featuring the three wise men, which are very popular. And the big traditional food of that time is the roscón, which is a cake in the shape of a ring that's topped with candied fruit, and then it's sliced horizontally and stuffed with incredibly delicious cream, and then usually you eat that with hot chocolate. And in the cake there's a little prize, and the person who gets the prize is supposed to pay for the cake, but I've never seen that enforced. And the prize is a little plastic figure of one of the three wise men. Also in January, in San Sebastian in northern Spain, January 20th, I think, is a festival called the Tamborada, which is a festival of drumming, and it celebrates something about when Napoleon or the English took San Sebastian from Napoleon, and there were all these drummers in the streets. So there are big, huge parades with all kinds of drummers all day long in San Sebastian. In February, in Catalonia, instead of celebrating Valentine's Day, they celebrate Sant Jordi's Day, and Jordi is the Catalonian version of St. George. And on that day, friends and lovers give each other either a rose or a book. Also in February is Carnaval, and it's mainly celebrated in the south, in Barcelona, in Sitges, and the biggest celebration is in Cádiz. In March, there is a flamenco festival in Jerez de Frontera, but the big fiesta in March is in Valencia around the vernal equinox, 2 weeks of Las Fallas. And it's incredible. The town just fills to overflowing with celebrants. The main part of the celebration is that they build these fantastic sculptures out of wood and paint and such that everyone goes around to see, and there are parties in the street all night. And then on the last night of Las Fallas, they burn them down. They burn them right in the city, like right next to apartment buildings and in the streets. And the fire department handles the burning, so it's completely safe. But it's super spectacular, and there's all kinds of fireworks going off, and it's amazing. There's also a Festival of the Virgin, where people dress in these traditional costumes, and they bring flowers to the Plaza of the Virgin, and they build a giant virgin out of flowers. And the fireworks are legendary. There's something that's just solely explosions that's really noisy during the day, and then at night these beautifully designed fireworks displays. So that's Las Fallas in Valencia. So Easter week, Semana Santa, is a very big time of celebrating in Spain. A lot of Spaniards travel, so hotels will be full and prices will be high. There are many processions throughout Spain, religious processions where they carry the figures of the Virgin and the Christ from the churches through the streets and back to the church. Sevilla is particularly legendary for this. It's all week long, all these processions in these costumes that date back to the time of the Inquisition with these pointed hats. It's quite something, Semana Santa in Spain. Also in April, around Alicante, are celebrations Moros y Cristianos, and these are mock battles in costume between Moors and Christians. And then late in April in Sevilla is their Feria, which is a celebration of flamenco and horseback riding and incredible costumes and these booths in the street where they set them up like little living rooms, and they have flamenco parties all day and all night. So that's Feria in Sevilla in late April. In May in Cordoba is a beautiful fiesta called the Patios of Cordoba, and it's a festival of flowers and plants. And so private homes who have courtyards, and they have filled their courtyards with flowers and ferns and beautiful plants, open the courtyards to people. So you buy a ticket to tour these various homes and see their patios, and it's really lovely. Then later in April is the Feria de Cordoba, similar to the one in Sevilla, a lot more to do with horses. Horses are very big in Cordoba. And then also in April in Jerez is a whole fiesta that's just about horses. And in June, Barcelona has a summer festival. Granada has an international festival of music and dance. La Rioja has a red wine festival that turns into a big battle of people throwing wine on each other. And on San Juan Day, which is the summer solstice approximately, in the south, everyone builds bonfires on the beach and jumps over them. And in Alicante, there's a huge festival called Hogueras, which has to do with fire. And it's similar to Las Fallas in Valencia, where they build the monuments in the streets. They have all-night street parties, a lot of fireworks, and on the last night, they burn them down within the city. And there's a game played with the fire department who is managing the burning, and the children who like to run out and get sprayed with the fire hoses. So that's a big fun festival for summer solstice. And late June and early July is Pride. Spain is super gay friendly, so the Pride Parade in Madrid is the biggest in Europe, and people come from all over Europe to the Pride celebrations in Madrid. It's kind of a family event, the parade, like families go and support their family members that are gay, and it's really great. But there are Pride celebrations all over Spain, and a big one in Maspalomas in the Canary Islands. So that's an important part of late June and early July. July 7th is the running of the bulls in Pamplona. July 16th is the festival of the Virgin de Carmen, and she is a patroness of fishermen. So they take the statues of the Virgin out on their boats and have boat parades to celebrate her. And July 25th is the Feast of St. James in Santiago Compostela, where all these pilgrims, thousands of pilgrims from the Camino de Santiago, gather at the tomb of St. James. In August is La Tomentina, which is near Valencia, and it's the world's biggest tomato fight. They bring in truckloads of ripe tomatoes, and thousands of people throw them at each other. Also in August is the Semana Grande in Bilbao, which is a celebration of Basque culture. And the Basques are known for being really strong. And so they have all these contests like lifting boulders and chopping big logs, as well as concerts and fireworks and lots of drinking and celebrating. September is the month of wine festivals. So Jerez de Frontera has the Sherry Festival. Logroño has the Rioja Festival, and Barcelona has the Cava Festival. Cava is the Spanish version of Champagne, and that is called the Feste de Marseille. Valencia then steps up with the Paella Festival called the Fiesta del Arroz. In October, in Zaragoza, the Festival of Pilar celebrates when the Virgin Mary appeared to St. James. And throughout Spain in October is a holiday called Hispanidad, which commemorates when Christopher Columbus landed in the Americas. November begins with All Saints' Day, when Spaniards return to their hometowns to remember deceased relatives. Later in the month, Cantabria celebrates the Fiesta de Arrojo, which honors Spain's 100-proof firewater. And speaking of Arrojo, one of my other favorite Spanish traditions is a ritual from Galicia called the Queimada. It involves a flaming cauldron, incantations, and drinking that 100-proof alcohol after it's been cooked with sugar and lemon peel and cinnamon and coffee beans. What could be more fun? That's Spain. Come celebrate with us.